Welcome to the latest episode of the Groove Loops podcast. We're just waiting for a very special guest of ours from, well, he can tell you where he's from, but it's United Kingdom. We usually start with where we're from. And I mean, does Damien even know where you are, John?
Yeah, I had a little chat yesterday.
You had a little chat. I'm in my
Yeah.
studio in Singapore. Whilst waiting for Damien, we may as well. Well, I'm in the normal place. Gary's in his normal place. Where are you, John?
I am in Daytona in Florida in on our tour bus. I'm on tour at the moment with the band that I work with called Killer Queen. So yeah, it's cool. This is front lounge on the tour bus. And I'm sat at a table, which is nice.
I definitely want a
Just
tour of that. There is the man, the myth, the legend himself. This, can you hear us, Damien? You can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, awesome.
do a drum roll.
We've already done our intros, so I mean, this is the great Damien Nolan, someone that John and I have worked for and with and for a number of years. We'll probably get into where we met Damien, but first of all, how are you? And could you tell the listeners where you are?
I am very well, thank you very much. I'm in just outside of London, and it's a particularly bright and lovely day, if not period, actually, because it's been glorious spring shine has sort of sprung, and I'm at home where I've got my little home studio, and yeah, I'm here to catch up with you boys. It has been a long time we've been working and knowing each other, isn't it? And I can tell you exactly the ins and the outs of where we all met and how it all happened.
I've
Great.
You're the not just the musician, but the person in my life that's got the most incredible stories. I'd like to get onto some of them. I'm sure there's some you can't tell.
Actually.
Some involving some Purley/Croydon backstreets. We won't go into those stories.
Oh dear.
But you got some other ones. But could you just, let everyone know perhaps where you met us and what you do in the music industry, because you do quite a few different things.
Yeah, well, don't we all? I mean, I think you have to, don't you? We met on the Florence Rawlings gig,
That's
and I think the three of us met at the same gig on the same thing,
Oh,
right, Dan? Or was it you and me first on one? No, I think it was the
I
three
think
of us.
we were Beijing, weren't we?
No,
Were we not Beijing?
no, we were before that. We did all meet together, and John and I have spoken about this a couple of times more recently. We were doing a corporate gig at Billingsgate Market in London.
it was the Pirelli Calendar Awards.
Oh yes, that one. We were trying to fish one of the calendars from the I don't know if you know the Pirelli calendar. Those calendars are unbelievable. There was a whole stash of them just sort of by the band room, but down this sort of corridor thing. Yeah, that was brilliant.
It was that, Dan, and it was last minute. And the story for me, if it's of any interest, goes like this. I was hustling my 25-year-old arse off trying to be a session guitarist, and I was playing for people for free. I was doing a rehearsal in London in the morning with one artist. I was then jumping over the barriers to get on a tube for free to get to a gig that I was doing on the other side of London with a different artist for no money. And I didn't drive. I had all my equipment on my back. And what would happen was I was just getting so so hard. It was such hard work. And then randomly through a connection, I got to know one of the engineers down at Mike Batt's Dramatico company. And he put a word in for me. And he said, look, come down and see Mike Batt. He needs a guitarist for this girl called Florence Rawlings. She's got stuff going on. She's signed. And this was quite a grown up artist all of a sudden for me to be, in the running for. And so I was like, great. I mean, wow, this sounds like a really good opportunity. So one of Mike Batt's office people got on the phone to me and said, yeah, come down on this day. And it was like a long train, an expensive train journey down to where he was based. And, it was quite a lot. It was financial and time commitment for me to go and do. And she said to me on the phone, she said, look, in 6 weeks, we've got a gig in China. So, bring your passport with you because we need to get visas sorted. And if it all goes well, there's a lot of stuff to get organized. So I remember being on the train down to deepest Surrey somewhere. Dan, you'll remember where this place was. and
Farnham.
Farnham,
right.
was it Farnham? Okay. And I was sat on the train with my guitar. You know, I paid whatever it was to go there, and my passport in my back pocket. And I was saying to myself, man, if this doesn't work out, and I go down to this place, and I've brought my passport with me, like I've got the gig, and they turn around and say, no, thank you, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. I'm
Ooh.
giving all this up. I'm gonna go and, you know, whatever, do something different. And anyway, the good story, the good ending is that I went down there and had a nice experience with the couple of people I met, including Mike Batt. Did a very rough audition. I didn't meet Florence, I didn't meet you guys, but they seemed to like me. And next thing I got a last minute call to do the Pirelli gig with you guys, because I think that was a bit of a last minute booking for Florence. And then
I think
6
it
weeks
was,
later,
yeah.
we all went to China.
Well, wasn't John? Didn't you get asked about that Pirelli gig on the day?
Yeah, I was learning the parts on the way there.
Me too.
I
Knee on
think
the
I was
wheel.
as well. That's the only gig in my life. I just remember our slot. We got there relatively early. We had a sound check, and I remember. Do you remember the backing singer? She was Robbie Williams' backing singer, and I was left of John, and it was a small stage, and she just appeared next to Florence, the artist. She just appeared stage left, like about no more than 1 meter in front of me, did the gig, and then left. I didn't see her face, and she didn't say hello or anything. Just like this is a real singer thing. On,
Yeah,
off.
So
yeah,
rock
I
and
remember
roll.
that gig. Yeah, that was a bit
yeah.
of a baptism of fire for all of us, wasn't it? It was a bit
It
of a
was. I
do
think the
this right.
gig. I think it was a late booking, and we
It
were
was,
rushed
yeah.
into Music Bank, yeah, to do a quick rehearsal. Music Bank or John Henry's or somewhere,
Yes, one of those.
Music
and then
bank. Yeah.
we all jumped in cars. I probably jumped in one of your cars. Like I didn't have a car, and I was using hired amplifiers.
Mhm.
And you know, to be quite honest with you, I was barely qualified to be on the gig. You know, because I mean, no wonder I was about to give up. I wasn't able to really give myself the foundation I needed in terms of equipment and driving and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, it
Yeah,
kind of worked out on that one.
And what year would that
great.
have been?
I
So
Say
think it
again,
was around
Gary.
about. Sorry, go on. Gary said, "What year was it?" I think it was around about 2010, 9, 10, something like
I
that.
think so.
No, it was earlier. It was.
Was it?
I tell you what it
8.
was. No, you're
2000.
right, John. It was 2009, and I know that for sure. It was 2009.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it funny because we've all got that similar contact, which is Mike Batts, who for those who don't know, he discovered a singer called Katie Mellower. I mean, he's done loads of things. He wrote the German World Cup song, you know, the music for the Wombles, and then he owned the rights to the Wombles and Bright Eyes. He wrote with Simon and Garfunkel. He's one of these guys. He's done everything. And I had a friend that sort of got me to Mike Batt, and then you got some Casey Mellower gigs, didn't you, Damien, through that same connection?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things in music, isn't it? It's like there's a few people that you can know, and then you just get a lot of work through those people. And
No, I agree.
you sort of became that to me, actually, because later on, I mean, we'll probably go back and forwards in this interview, in this chat, but you then became a band leader. I got a lot of work from you before I left to go to Singapore. Are you still doing that?
I'm not. I did have a period, probably across about really 5 years, where I had sort of, I wasn't really getting any of the work we've just been talking about so much. I wasn't getting really any artist gigs or touring stuff, and I was back here and back in England, and for about 5 years I gave it a good go. Basically, I was just getting gigs off friends who were getting married, because we were all sort of 30 at that age, at that point, and a lot of my friends were getting married, and so they were coming to me, and I was putting little bands together. I didn't have a set band, and I was using like brilliant people from my network, like both of you guys. And as you both know, it was always a look, just show up. There'll be 4 or 5 of us, and we'll work out a set list, and we'll just whatever. And my basis was always, I don't want a rehearsed tight wedding band, function band.
Just as
I
well.
don't. Yeah. Well, I would always say to people, look, I don't care how we start the song, and I don't care how we end the song, but as long as the bit in the middle kind of works, then we're good.
Vibe it up.
Just vibe it up, man. There, yeah, you go, Danny. That's why you got to call me. So I probably did that for about 5 years, and it did me good. But I mean, wow, I worked so hard on those gigs because I didn't really work for any agencies. So I was dealing with clients directly. I was then booking musicians that a lot of the time was easy, could be complicated. People then get double booked, and there could be a lot of admin around it. And then on the day, I was supplying all the sound and lighting equipment, driving, showing up, sweating, and then putting on a smile and a blazer to greet the bride and
Yeah.
groom or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you've got a bass player who is, stuck on the whatever.
Not me.
Not you. You guys were absolutely brilliant, and I have to say, most people were always brilliant. There was obviously problems arise, and then at the end of the night, you're packing it all up, and you're getting in at 2 o'clock in the morning and driving 2 hours or more. And so it was a really hard work, but it was an incredible learning experience, and I think it gave me incredible skills to deal with stressful, similar situations. In the industry, really, for any sort of event, gig, production, broadcast. And then, so very long answer to your very short question. When we got to COVID, because I never really worked for too many agencies, and a lot of my gigs were referrals, and a lot of them, started from direct friends of mine. My bookings did slowly reduce, and I was only ever doing about 15, maybe a year. And then COVID hit, obviously, and I was quite happy to sort of put it to bed if I could. And I kind of was in a position where I kind of could. And so I haven't picked it back up since then. And to be honest with you, I'm happy with that for now.
Good answer.
Yeah, because long one. Sorry.
But there's so many things. Like I've known you for over 15 years, and then we were working together so many times. And John, you could probably back me up with this. It was over a decade after I knew that I discovered that you work on the Formula One productions, don't you? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. When did I start that? So I met you guys 2009. Well, to be honest with you, Dan, it probably wasn't until 10 years later that I actually started working with Formula One. But I sort of I did one race for them as part of their audio team in 2014. And I obviously did such a great job that they were straight on the phone in 2018 to have me back to do a completely different job. So it was 2018, and I went in to do this thing called team radio, which is the communications that the drivers have with their teams while they're in the car driving. They all have radio mics, and they have a very close working relationship with an engineer in their specific garage, and they will communicate things to do with the car or any problems or all sorts of stuff. And what I started doing there, and I now still do, is I monitor, curate, edit, and broadcast any interesting messages from any of the 20 drivers while they're on track. And we get them live on air, super, super quickly. So yeah, I started doing that in 2018, Dan, and the first couple of years I'd only did a handful of races. I was still doing events. And then 2020, we've all got a 2020 story. My 2020 story was that I was sat at home drinking beers and making barbecues and having a lovely little 18-month-old baby, and Formula One called. They were the first international sport to get back on the air. And so in about January, February, March, April, May, I think it was the April, they went back to racing. And because of their complicated furloughing arrangements with their staff and blah, 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 I think I kind of lucked out, and they gave me the call, and they were like, we need you. And we're only doing 3 races because we don't know what's going to happen. And so I said, yes, thank you very, very much. I'll come in and do
Mm.
those 3 weekends of races. And lo and behold, another 3 got added and another 3 got added. And then the season ended up being 15 races, which is they normally, those days they were normally about 20, 21. So it was almost a full season and I did all of them and I've done every single race since. And I'm missing my first race since then in July because, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to Glastonbury Festival. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes. Good. That's good.
In what capacity?
In a very spiritual one and an emotional one, Dan, but I will be there physically as well. And I am only a punter. I say only a punter. I'm a punter, but I've been, and this might be of interest to you, I've been trying completely unsuccessfully to try and see if I could hook up some little gigs in because there's all sorts of bars. I'm talking small, right? I mean, people won't know because nobody knows. I have my own little solo act, which is me banging an acoustic guitar,
I
and
wanted to talk about that.
I'm trying to add more technology to it and build a little bit more of an act. It's still in its infancy, so I haven't released anything of it yet. But I have been quietly touting it about to festivals, and I've got one festival booking this summer.
Happy
But
day, mate.
Glastonbury just seems to be such a closed shop. I mean, I have digged and dug to try and find connections to
You've
try
got a
and
few
get.
connections, though, haven't you? You know, here and there.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that can get me a little gig at Glastonbury. And I'm literally talking, Dan. I'm not talking one of the stages. I'm
No,
talking in a you know a bar in Glastonbury at the back of a field.
Oh, that'd be great, Damo.
Yeah, just as a little warm up thing, a little vibe, Johnny. You know.
I don't even know if I mentioned that you're a guitarist. Obviously, you've got some guitars in the background, but I did actually. This is quite a nice segue because I did. When I think of you and your guitar playing, so I've known you in that capacity, doing a couple of session things where you have to play the part, doing the gigs, the weddings, that it's just turn up and just do whatever. You're a very rhythmic player, and can you just explain a bit about the acoustic hitting the guitar thing? I don't know if you've got one around, not to put you on the spot, but I've always thought that kind of sets you apart from perhaps a lot of other guitarists. The whole looping, hitting the guitar thing. Where did that come from?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's a relatively popular sort of angle of acoustic guitar playing these days. But when I was learning, and I went to the ACM college when I was 18 in Guildford, there was the most amazing head of guitar there, an Irish guitarist, acoustic guitar player, who at the time was pretty well known in that sort of acoustic fingerstyle world. And his name was Eric Roach, and he was the head of guitar at ACM, and he did he had sort of adapted his technique, I believe, from being in Ireland and hearing the ballroom, the traditional Irish frame drum, and playing in Irish sessions, and he was started to add these percussive elements. And anyway, he had released a couple of albums by the time I met him, and when I heard him play, it just lit some sort of a light bulb, and I just wanted to learn his techniques, and so I did. And uh, and yeah, you know, you guys know, as a budding young guitarist, you go and do little duo gigs in pubs, and you do any gigs you can do, and if that means there's just one acoustic guitar and a singer, well, I can maybe add some bass drum effect while I'm playing quite easily. I mean, it's not difficult. And then you start adding a little snare, and then it's just sort of a mentality that you start trying to add these little techniques. And then much later, and I know this isn't exactly what you asked, but I just want to put it out there. Very sadly, this amazing guitarist died very, very young and left behind 2 very young children. He was only 36, and his music was all released and his whole career was all out there before the times of YouTube and really the internet as we know it now. And so I actually started a whole series where I recreated a load of his tracks, filmed them and put them out on YouTube, and did some videos about him
And they're
and
great,
tried to just
mate.
promote. Yeah,
Really love
saw some
watching
of that
those.
stuff, right?
Yeah, it's
link,
brilliant.
let's link to those.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the story. So that's how that all started, Dan. And to be honest with you, I'll tell you, if you really want to know how it started, I was 10 years old. I was at primary school, and a new music teacher started. And the music teacher came into the little music class, and we're all there in our shorts in Purley, you know, in our little boys' school. And he said, "Look, I'm going to shake this up." He was like rock and roll compared to the, you know, basically priests that I was taught by
Yeah.
before that. And he was like, "Look, I'm going to get teachers in to teach instruments. What instruments do you want to learn? I'm going to go around the class and you tell me what instrument." And he came to me and I said, "Drums. I want to learn drums." And then he went around the rest of the class. And then when the class ended, and this is possibly the biggest mistake in my life ever, I went up to him and I said, "Actually, sir, could I change to guitar?" And lo and behold, I started learning the guitar. And do you know what? I don't think I've ever really forgiven myself for that move.
You haven't got over that.
Haven't got over it. But look, I basically play the drums on the guitar, and I'm most comfortable when I'm
and you
playing
play
rhythm
them well.
stuff. Oh,
Play
thank
them
you, mate.
very well, Damo.
Oh, bless you, bless you.
No, we'll definitely link to all of that because it's quite an unusual style, and I could definitely see that people at Glastonbury in those little bars and drinking
Yeah, you know,
holes and watching
I
you
need a
do that.
hookup. I need a hookup.
Yeah, well, we'll have a think. I don't really know anyone. You've got a few rock star mates though, don't you, Damo?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, well, kind of, yeah, but I don't think that's a route for getting this.
Getting a cafe gig. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. What I need is some of the rock star guys to give me a gig with them, and then I'd be on actual proper stages, like you know, like we all would.
So,
So that was
any releases planned?
Yeah, I have actually, Gary. I've got probably about 3 more of these sort of nice acoustic pieces in the can that have all been recorded. And I've sort of shot a couple of their videos actually. And just due to some laziness, some timing, and other things going on, I haven't quite released them yet. But this year I'm really I really wanted to make a push on my YouTube channel, particularly because I've had a few things out there recently that have given me loads of views, and so I'd like to get into a position where I could monetize my YouTube channel, which I'm sure is a goal for a lot of young aspiring musicians. And so I think I need to rush some of those recordings out. And as I have this newer act that will incorporate some of this acoustic percussive playing, is kind of going to be a venture that's going to be quite different, Gary. So in one way, I want to get these lovely acoustic fingerstyle pieces out and, you know, get them out there and draw a bit of a line and move on. So stay tuned, Gary. And I will be in the coming weeks, actually, we'll be getting the first of those out.
Nice.
Damo, what I thought was amazing, Gary, Damo went to Los Angeles and went up to the Hollywood Hills, didn't you? Which is actually quite hard to get towards that Hollywood sign when I've been there. I've never. Anyway, he got a drone up in the air, Gary. And basically, you were cameraman, producer, everything, and musician. And make the footage you've got from around there and playing is just phenomenal. That's pretty good.
It's an amazing spot. It was in February a couple of years ago. I was running the London Marathon in the April. I went to Pete Townsend's studio and I recorded the acoustic guitar at his beautiful studio on an old Dutch barge. I went and had it mixed by Don Morley, an amazing Grammy Award-winning engineer who I've worked with for many, many years, and then got it mastered by Pete Maher. And I had this amazing recording, and I was like, right, I've got to make videos. And I was on a trip to LA to do some various musical things. And I bought a drone, and I had a posh camera, and I had a phone. And so I was hiking up into the hills each day as just some exercise. And one day I thought, you know what, I need to do a video up here. It'd be amazing with the drone. So I packed up all my stuff and my guitar, which was in a hard case acoustic guitar. Anybody who doesn't know how heavy that is, that's heavy. It's too heavy to be lugging up a mountain. Yeah. And I sat up on a rock and I got all these cameras up and running, and it honestly nearly killed me, John. And I got such bad shin splints from that I nearly had to pull out of the London Marathon. That was about 2 months later.
Oh no!
Yeah, yeah. And then I produced the video, color graded it, edited it, put it all together, and put it out. I tell you what, to try and be a solo artist these days, which I don't really admit I really am. I dabble in it. It is tough out there for these young people that are trying to do all this stuff by themselves, man. It's there's a lot of skills you got to learn.
You set your bar quite high by going to the Hollywood Hills. I mean, can't you go Pearly Hills? That's just down.
I could go Pearly Hills
407 down the road. Much easier.
Yeah, I mean, you and me both know the beauty of that area.
Riddles down.
Could
Actually,
go
there's a
Riddles down.
school. There's a school there. Don't put your drone up. That'll be the end of your career. Get cancelled.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You do have to be careful. Yeah.
I'm just looking. I'm God knows how, but I'm the moderator. I've been given the job. So I'm the one who keeps an eye on the time and everyone. There's a couple. I actually do. So John is on a £1.4 million tour bus.
Dollar.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Dollar. Sorry.
Oh, it's unbelievable on here.
Can we just take a little? Could you show us around very quickly?
Yeah. So basically, it's like 5 a.m. here, so no one else is on it because we get all these hotels at night, which is some nights we sleep on it, but it's a real sort of blessing way of doing it. You come on. Hang on, I don't lose you. Hang on, just give me 2 seconds.
You're not going to disturb any groupies, are you?
No, I don't think so. But this is a parking lot, car park. Sorry, it's too American. Do you remember in Back to the Future where he gets shot by the Libyans?
Pine Halls, yeah.
It's like that out here. I mean,
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the bus. It's really big, and it's got these bits that sort of come out at the side. Do you know what I mean? Like,
nice.
Yeah. Like, anyway, so you come on the bus here. I'll just lock the door just in case there are any people shooting. And then, so I'll walk you through. So this is the front lounge, telly there, and all your AV stuff there. And then this is the bit that sort of goes out. Yeah. Another telly there. And then Travis, our tour manager, loves a snack. So we got like got the drawer of dreams down here with
beef jerky.
Bit all of that. It's like I'm trying to sell a flat to you guys.
I tell you what, it's an amazing bus, man. It looks really cool.
And then you've got all your sort of drawers of water and fridge.
Where's all the booze and coke?
Do you know, I'm the only one on this bus that drinks.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And so I have a whole month off from drinking when I'm out here, which is 5 weeks or so. Toilet in here, which is nice. And then you got
John, what people might not know is that in America, tour buses are all single stories, aren't they? Am I right in saying that?
Whereas in the UK, they're all double, I think, or most of them are double story.
Yeah, I believe so. So these are all single, right? Is that correct?
Single story. Yeah, single story buses. But they're so long, you wouldn't be able to get them down UK streets, you know. And then you've got your lighting panels. And then you've got all the bunk areas. So this is my bunk here. It's a bit of a mission to get up because it's quite high. And then, and then back lounge, another couple of tellies.
That's the groupie area there, right?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And John,
John,
you
want a hotel night
Queen the whole time?
What's that, Gary?
Do you play Queen on the stereo the whole time?
Yeah, all the time.
Never off duty.
Never off duty. So it's cool. But I tell you what, it's such a. I'm trying to be good to like lose a bit of winter layer at the moment, and I'm doing well.
That's hard on tour. That is hard on tour. Afterwards, it's pizzas and beers and all that, isn't it?
Don't touch it. I do like a 1,700 calorie a day allowance, and then I go to gym each day. And I worked out. I've got this Apple Watch. It's about a 95-minute gig, and that's just over 1,000 calories burned.
Wow!
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah, so that's quite good. So yeah, I I sound like I should be a lot thinner by saying all this, but I've reached an age where it doesn't come off quite as quick.
I know.
Yeah, but there you go. So that's where I'm. I'm in Daytona today. It's this bike week, so it's like motorbikes, custom Harleys, everything everywhere. It's quite a weird culture. Very, very different from my little village in Kent. You know.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that tour. I mean, from one tour to possibly another, Damo, could you? I mean, most of our listeners, both
our listeners,
both our listeners. Well, two of them are on now. So the next one we get, they are interested in studio gear, production, etc. Is there? I mean, you've always had a great studio. The one in Croydon was colourful and full of wacky instruments. You can just give us a little.
Do you want a little look around? Yeah,
a little look around, and perhaps like you could maybe tell us what your favourite bit of gear in the studio, your most important pieces, what you use.
Good shout. So, okay, so I predominantly run sort of an online guitar session business from this little studio. So it's quite guitar centric. So I've got a couple of different sort of pedal stations. I've got one pedal station that is all going in, and they're very much drive related, and they will run to either amps, or I've got a modeling amp here, a Kemper unit. And then I've got a mixing desk here where I can run other microphones, like such as these ones that I might use for acoustic guitars. And how I've routed it is that then I've got another bank of guitar effects here, but they can also be used for any sort of production, parallel production predominantly. So I run these in a loop in my Neve sound interface. So I can actually use a lot of my guitar pedals to create sounds and production things in, things that aren't guitars. My favorite piece of kit. Oh, I bought, my son is 6 years old, 7 years old, and I bought a little Alesis drum kit, and he's he's having such a lovely time, just literally when I use the word play, bashing, and I'm starting to I can sort of play a couple of beats now, and I'm loving it.
Great.
I've got a nice selection of guitars. I've kind of, none of my guitars are of outstanding value or of note, but I've sort of got a wide selection of different sounds and bits and pieces. And I've got my studio monitors, and it's relatively basic, but my favorite piece of kit is this thing here, which is by a lovely company called Hologram Effects, and it's not only a guitar pedal, but as I said, I can use it as sort of an outboard piece of studio gear, and it offers all sorts of saturation as well as very interesting delays.
That looks lovely.
What's that one called, Damo? That pedal?
That's called the Chroma Console by Hologram Effects. Nice bright colours. And I've also got another one of their units called the Microcosm.
Yeah, and I always wanted one of those.
Oh, have you seen those, Gary?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that brand, and I'm one of those tight arses that always tries to sort of reverse engineer expensive gear like that and see how I can do that with like Sound Toys or something, and but it's not the same.
Right.
I do really like Sound Toys stuff, actually, but those sort of atmospheric effects I love. Maybe you seem to have quite a lot of hardware, and I see you've got the Big Sky. I think that is the best pedal of all time. That one.
Yeah.
The Big
They're
Sky.
quite legendary, aren't they, those Strymons?
You should listen. Anyone who doesn't know about those, listen to the demos. The demos are just. I just love the 80s and reverb and delayed sounds. But the demos on guitar on their website just makes you want to buy one. It just sounds. It's expensive, isn't it? Though they're about 500 quid, aren't they?
Yeah, they are expensive.
Worth it.
Totally worth it. And they actually have released a newer, updated model of that one, which I believe what the essence, the difference is that it's got two different reverb engines, so that it can supply two different reverbs doubled on top of each other at once. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, it's like
and
beyond me.
if God forbid, if there was a fire, what would the one piece of gear you had to save? What would you go for?
Oh, that's such a good question, Gary. I would probably take this acoustic Maton Australian-made
Oh,
acoustic
nice.
guitar,
Is that
which
new?
is it's relatively new, mate. Yeah, I've had it. I've had it a few years, but I barely played it for a while. Yeah, it's a really, really beautifully made piece of
Is that
work. So maybe
is that
that.
the Tommy Emmanuel one?
It's a Tommy Emmanuel. It's
Oh,
a
wow.
Tommy Emmanuel signature,
That's
and
been
I've
bashed
added a
around. Look
little
at that.
scratch plate, and I've sort of done some work on it to get some other
Yeah.
sounds.
You want to show us a
And
little? Do you want to show us a little
well,
something?
okay. So what
A technique. A technique.
I'll show you a technique. 'Cause you did ask earlier, and I didn't. So what I say to sort of people that might be trying to learn this sort of thing, if you can beatbox, I know that to easily beatbox, you can say boots and cats, and cats and boots and cats. Well, my boots is the heel of my hand there, and anywhere on this upper bout. Am I in shot, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my boots. Anywhere around there, get a nice kick drum, and then my cats is anywhere over here, nice little slap. So boots, cats, but we need the and in the middle. So I hit the strings as sort of a little hi-hat in the middle. So we've got a kick drum, boots, hi-hat, and cats, snare. And you kind of get a little beat. And then if you want, you can add this hand to get a, what is that, 16th note on the hats, John?
Yeah.
8th
Yeah.
note?
Yeah. 16.
16. So there you go. You get a little beat. There you go.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. So Gary, I think I would go with that rather than anything else.
It's
Cool.
a great looking studio demo.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, mate. It's
And
fun.
it's old school with the mixing desk and not everything in the box.
It's lovely and bright as well with those windows.
Well, the windows are such a joy. I moved into this place, and this was originally going to be my bedroom, and it was like, oh, a lovely big bright space. And I moved all my studio equipment into the much smaller room. And then after about 3 weeks, I literally just went, what am I doing? And you know how hard moving house is. It was like moving house again, but within.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a nice
That's
space.
awesome.
That's great
So
demo.
I'm looking at timing here. I think we have to wind up soon. And I've put you on the spot once before, and feel free to just say no comment here. But of all in all the time that I've known you, just the stories that you have about music, and I'm thinking in particular of a famous musician in Tuscany teaching a song. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if you can tell that story, or
Yeah.
do you have any like funny or crazy stories? Because you just had one every gig. There was this time I did this. I was like a chef on this.
I didn't know that. I didn't. Your chef, Gary Damo, was a TV chef in Switzerland.
In Norway, yeah, very briefly
No.
on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, it's random. It was random. I ended up swearing on live television. What I cooked tasted. I mean, it was barely edible, and it didn't last very long.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I did a gig in. I always joked with you guys, with any of my music friends when we were coming up and we were trying to get gigs and we were just trying to survive, man. I always joked saying, you know what, one of these days, either Sting is going to call or Stevie Wonder. They were my two. I was like, when Stevie calls, it'll all be all right, lads. When Sting calls, it'll all be all right. Lo and behold, after been manifesting, one day Sting called. And, long story short, I ended up being at his beautiful, beautiful home in Tuscany, and he wanted us to play some of his songs, and I didn't really know how to play any of them. And I ended up in his yoga studio in Tuscany with him. I sat on a chair like this with my guitar, and he was sat on a yoga ball next to me with his guitar that was completely out of tune. and he kept on struggling to get it in tune while he was teaching us a little group of musicians how to play his songs. And it was quite the moment. It was very, very surreal. Yeah, so that must be the story I told you.
That's it. Next, we need Stevie, but you can work on that.
Listen, I'm working on Stevie, man. I'm working on Stevie. Listen, he knows, and he knows. He knows it's only a matter of time.
Get your YouTube channel up. You know, start to do. By the way, I think you would have a brilliant YouTube channel. I mean,
you would.
Oh, thanks, man.
As you said earlier on, musicians doing what you have to do these days, and I've gone from being in bands like yours to fully online, and so any help you need, I'll let me know. But you could do anything. Great. You could do teaching, you could do production, you could do just stories, whatever. Yeah. I think you're tailor made for that, and you should definitely do that.
Oh, thank you, mate. I want to do it, and I think it's something I'd actually really enjoy. I love producing anything. I love producing video. I love it. So
I think you'd be really good at the story. Like the best YouTubers for me are the ones that have got the good color grading and editing and things like that, but have got an angle. They've got a good story. They've got a way of, I don't know, presenting something new. It's just a personality thing, really. I actually don't do that at all. I just do here's a bass lesson. I don't do any B-roll or anything. I think you'd be good at that because you kind of enjoy that side of things. And
I do enjoy that side of things. Yeah, it's definitely something that I really boring. But I've got and you'll get this, Dan, for sure. Maybe you all will, but I've got 1,000 watch hours in the last 2 months.
Great.
And you need 4,000, right? And I think the subscribers will come, but so I'm I wasn't even intending to get those 1,000 hours, and I kind of blagged them by a couple of videos. So I'm thinking, right, I need to, in the next 365 days, make a go of it.
It's just consistency.
Yeah, watch this space.
So it's 4,000 hours in a year. Is that?
I think it's
You got to get 4,000 in a year, Gary, and 1,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. Personally, I feel like the subscribers come a little bit easier. 4,000 hours has always seemed like an almost impossible task. But a couple of videos I released recently just got a few thousand views each, and I'm kind of a quarter of the way there. So maybe I've found something and I'm doing something right, and I need to push it.
I think it's consistency, and YouTube Shorts could get you the hours, and it's just producing almost every day if you can, and you just get better at it, and you find your niche, and you find your thing, and then the hours rack up that way. It would happen easily.
Well, I mean, you're smashing it, Dan. It's amazing what you.
Well, I think it's consistency. It's just like at this point with me, it's like I'm on that hamster wheel. Really, I really enjoy it, but there's no, I'm not distracted by anything else. So once you get doing it consistently, that's the thing. Rather than you've got a really great video you did, then next month you do another one. It's just do more and refine it and make it a bit better the next time, and find your thing that you do. And honestly, well, listen, we will definitely have a round 2 with you, Damien, at some time. Do you guys have any questions for Damien?
A load of questions, but let's do it again.
So, Damien, do you have any parting wisdom or telling us where we can find you online?
You can find me online at damiennolan.com, and I am in the process of finishing my new website, which is a dedicated online guitar session recording service, which is the online sessionguitarist.com, and that's about to be launched.
So we'll follow up with links anyway.
I think he's frozen. Yeah. He's frozen.
Damien's frozen, yeah.
But that's perfect because he said everything he needed to say, and we can just hold him there forever in our minds.
Am I back?
You're back, yeah. We were just
back.
saying. I think you've said everything that we need to hear, and that we'll put some links below, and we'll get this out. We need to find another listener, but we'll get it out to the listener.
Okay, great. Well, let's do it again soon, guys.
Thanks so much, Damien. Yeah, we'll end this, and then I'll chat to you. We'll chat to you again in a second on another platform. But thanks very much, everyone, for watching and listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Take care. Bye.